Yay!
Yay! All right, another in a line of interesting and fast little computations that we can do now with current and resistance is figuring out, maybe you have a 5-watt bulb. Maybe it's like for your porch. Maybe it's a little LED bulb for your porch, like a porch light. And you don't want to worry about keeping it, turning it on, turning it off, and forgetting. You're just going to keep it on all the time. So how much does that cost? How much is it going to cost for you to keep a 5-watt bulb on all year round? So we'll make a couple assumptions as we go along. So this is just going to be sort of a ballpark estimate for a lot of you that don't live in the same part of the world as I do. So let's see, a 5-watt bulb on for 1 year. Okay, so 5 watts is 5 joules per second. And then in a year, I want to know how many joules I'm using up in an entire year. So I need to convert years into seconds. I need how many seconds are in a year. And you can multiply it all out, right? Seconds in an hour, and then in a day, and then in a year. And what you're going to get is about 3.16 times 10 to the 7 seconds in a year. The number is interesting. It's almost like pi times 10 to the 7th seconds in a year. That's probably worth sticking in your head. That's a useful kind of a conversion number to know. Okay, so this is going to give us, 15, 16, 1.6, what did I get? Times 10 to the 8th? Joules per year. In that year. So that's how many joules you're going to need to keep the light bulb on. And then here's what you need to know. Electric cost. If you look on your electric bill, they charge by units of kilowatt hours. And that is... a kilowatt is 1,000 joules per second, and then an hour is 3,600 seconds. So a kilowatt hour is really just an amount of energy. That kind of makes sense. They say they're energy companies. We call them power companies, but really they're energy companies. They're selling you energy. They don't care how quickly you use it. They don't care about the power, but they're just selling you a packet of energy. And how much is a kilowatt hour of energy? It's a certain number of joules, and it's 3.6 times 10 to the 6 joules. And then what you do is you look on your bill and see how much they charge you for each kilowatt hour, for each group of 3.6 million joules. And it turns out in this area of the country, kind of in the middle of the country of the United States, and right here we have a pretty cheap energy compared to some, and it's about 10 cents. So it's 10 cents for 3.6 million joules. So here's what I'm saying. It's 3.7 times 10 to the 7th joules per dollar. So if I give the electric company, the power company, $1, that will purchase me 36 million joules, 3.6 times 10 to the 7th joules. Okay, so now we're all set. So I had 3.16 times, I'm sorry, wrote down the wrong number. I had 1.6 times 10 to the 8th joules. So then if I just divide by the cost, 3.7 times 10 to the 7th joules per dollar, joules goes away. And what I get out of that, what did I get? About $4.50. So for the entire year, it'll cost me a little over $4 to keep the light on all the time. That doesn't seem so bad, right? But of course, that's not the only thing that I've got on. I got washer, dryer, lights, TVs, right? Heater, washing machine, you name it. So all that stuff kind of mounts up. But for a 5-watt source, you want to keep it on for a whole year. In this area of the country, it's cost you a little under $5. Cool.